Hello, welcome to Tax Takes. Our guest on this special edition of IBFD Tax Takes is Jennifer Roeleveld, Director of the Tax Unit for Fiscal Research at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Welcome to Tax Takes, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you for joining us. And for our viewers who may not know much about you or your work at the University of Cape Town, could you please share a bit about your background and what it is you do down there?
Well, basically, I've been at the University of Cape Town for about 30 years, and I'm still there. I teach tax law and application of tax. More recently, I supervise masters and PhDs in South African tax, but also in international tax. And I'm available to mentor new staff. And I'm also an author of various regular publications in South Africa, in the United States, and in Europe. And I'm also a visiting professor at Vienna University on their LLM program.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's quite a full plate. I understand you have had a long and very fruitful relationship with IBFD over the years, particularly as it relates to research. Could you please share with us some of the projects that you've worked on with us at IBFD?
Yes, it's been very exciting, I must say, and there's been quite a few projects. And to mention some, the first one really was DSTAT, which was a project with the Norway Research Council. And it was a collaboration between developed and developing countries. And the theme was sustainable tax governance in developing countries through global tax transparency. And that was a relationship with developed countries and with the IBFD and with Norway itself. The next one was special tax zones. And that was a collaboration with Madagascar, South Africa, the BRICS countries, also jointly with the IBFD. And another one is the Observatory for Taxpayers' Rights of the IBFD, which we are involved in. And I must say, I was also invited to write for the Global Tax Treaty commentaries, and more recently been appointed to the board of the Global Tax Commentaries. I've also a juror for the Frans van Nistendal Award each year, and where we have to adjudicate on the most exceptional work in tax law in the particular year. And I think the other projects might be covered, we'll cover a bit later maybe.
So I just want to, one of the things that I try to do is enlighten people about our acronyms. So could you, I think I know what the BRICS countries are, so could you help me on that one?
The BRICS countries is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
So you are in one of the BRICS countries?
Yes, certainly.
So from your description of the research activities you've conducted in collaboration with IBFD, it sounds like there's a joint commitment to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, including the education of students in the developing world toward the goal of achieving global tax equity. Could you talk about that shared goal and how we're working to reach that?
Certainly. I would say initially we have a special deal with IBFD where they've given us access to the IBFD portal, the library portal, through our university library. This is such a valuable tool and resource for our students, as many of these students cannot afford to purchase the textbooks and online publications that are required to be a tax expert. And so this has really opened the world for our courses in taxation and for our students. The IBFD also teach for a week on our master's programs, and this exposes our students to the global arena and once again creates such an impression on them that they know that we're part of the global fraternity. The IBFD also award a prize each year for the best student's dissertation of that particular year. Once again, this encourages our students to do the best that they can. Our students are not only from South Africa, they are from other countries in Africa itself and from elsewhere in the world. So certainly there is an influence of what we have produced in South Africa at the University of Cape Town together with the IBFD. So the IBFD has opened a channel of access to the most up-to-date documentation necessary for tax specialists and researchers.
That sounds like a very fruitful collaboration that should really demonstrate its fruits over the coming years with the access that these students have that they wouldn't otherwise have. So I couldn't let this go. We just saw each other recently at IFA 2022 in Berlin, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about plans that you are helping to craft for a very special IFA World Congress in 2 years in Cape Town. Could you share some of the planning that's ongoing now for that wonderful event in October of 2024?
Yes, this is very exciting. And as president of the IFA South Africa, we have a formidable task ahead of us and not much time. And the thing to note is this is the first time that IFA will be held on the African continent.
Wow.
So I think one of the goals here is to also attract the African countries to come to our conference, which will be the case. And we have a very interesting scientific program plan, and there will be much to offer for different tastes. For example, there's safari tours, we've got wine tasting, and we have beautiful scenery. And I'm hearing that many people would really like to come in 2024. It will be at the Cape Town International Conference Center, and the dates are the 27th to the 31st of October at the waterfront in Cape Town. So we are very excited.
I'm so glad you shared that with us. And I see the photograph of the leopard behind you. I have very fond memories of visiting Cape Town and much of South Africa in 2016 and going on safari. I can't wait to go back, and I hope we generate the kind of interest that we expect. And it's very exciting, I'm sure it is, for the South African branch of IFA to host the first ever IFA World Congress on the African continent. So we're very excited.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that.
So thank you for joining us today, Jennifer. Our guest today has been Jennifer Roeleveld, who's professor and director of the Tax Unit for Fiscal Research at the University of Cape Town in South Africa. Thank you again for joining us today, Jennifer.
It's an absolute pleasure.